I say this facetiously, sarcastically, realistically, and figuratively. Nobody has money, right? At the end of the day, spending money to attract money has to be a calculated business decision, 100%. Am I hiring this lawyer? Do I need this accountant? Do I need this? Do I need that?
Hello, everyone. This is Kathy Caprino, and welcome to my podcast, Finding Brave. I've created this show for everyone who longs to create something bold and brave in their life, to rise up, speak up, and stand up for who they are, and to reach their highest and biggest visions. Each week, I'll be speaking with inspiring guests from all walks of business, leadership, entertainment, the creative arts, and the entrepreneurial world. And they'll be sharing their intimate stories of finding brave and offer their best strategies for building your most rewarding, joyful, and meaningful life, business, and career. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Finding Brave. How have you been? This is coming to you in October. I hope fall has been good for you so far. And I am so excited to have our amazing guest, David Postolski, with us. David, who has been so helpful to me and to many people I know. I'm just thrilled to have you. Thank you. Coming from Israel, thank you so much for being here, David.
Thank you, Kathy. It's actually fun to be back. We did this a few years ago.
Yes, we did. And I'll link to that below.
Yeah.
I'm not remembering. That might have been 3 years ago.
I think it might have even been more. I think it might have been 5 or 6 years
Oh,
ago.
good grief. Well, we'll find out and
So,
we'll post that. But
yeah,
it's
we
time.
definitely have known each other for a long time. So yes,
Yes,
it's super
yes,
exciting to be back. So thanks.
because you helped me so much with Finding Brave,
That's right.
trademarking this podcast name. And there was
That's
a
right.
bit of a drama all over that, which you
Yeah.
remember. So that was 2018.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm telling you, it's been a
thank you.
minute.
It's incredible. So, we are talking about how to attract great investors for your products and business. Wow, there's so much to talk about, and it's not easy for a lot of people, David, is it? I mean, we're not lawyers. We don't understand the ramifications, the implications. So, thank you for breaking it down, in a digestible way. But let me tell you about David, everybody, and then we're going to dive in. David is a senior partner at Gearhart Law, a registered patent attorney and intellectual property, IP, that's what we're going to call it. That's what it's called. Attorney. David specializes in assisting inventors, creators, startups, entrepreneurs, early stage companies, my goodness, and emerging companies with their U.S. and international IP strategy, protection, enforcement, and monetization. David is a frequent speaker and author on emerging IP issues and technologies, raising capital, business formation. Good grief, you do it all. Licensing, equity-based crowdfunding are his strengths. It goes on and on. You're a teacher, you're a professor. You do such amazing things, and you can read the full bio below. But let's dive in, David. We have you for 30 minutes. So, for people who might not even be aware of the full description of what IP is, or even if they have it, could you just give us that to start, and that'll be our launching pad?
Yeah, that's a great start. From in my world, working with investors as clients and working with all sorts of entities that need investment because nobody has no money at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, everybody's raising money.
Right.
In my world, it is best to have at least one of the four forms of intellectual property. And so, intellectual
Okay.
property, the four forms are patents, trademarks, copyrights, and trade secrets.
Wow. Oh,
These are federal rights. This is like I file a United States patent, a United States
I
trademark,
see.
a United States copyright. I have trade secret protection across the United States.
I see.
This is what investors look for, knowing that you have created something, whether it's a product or a service business or a lifestyle brand or a formulation or a new medical device, whatever. I don't care what it is. At the
Wow.
end of the day, they want to know that they are investing in not just you as a person, but your registered form of intellectual property. They want to know that you went through a process
Hmm.
and were awarded a federal right in
Wow.
patent, trademark, or copyright.
Wow.
So that's like their collateral, if you will. Like that's why I mean I'm going to give you money because I at least know that you have a great chance to do the things you want to do, to launch the things you want to launch because you have gone through a process and been awarded a federal right of a
Interesting.
patent, trademark, or copyright. So those are the major forms of intellectual property. Not everybody can get a patent, not everybody
Right.
can get a trademark, not everybody can get a copyright, not everybody has a trade secret.
Hmm.
But from an elementary level, if you will, a patent is something based in science. So if your product involves chemistry, physics, biomechanics, electrics, computer science, something like that, then you can potentially get a patent on that technology or innovation.
Wow.
Trademark, if you have a brand or a logo or a word or a color scheme or something that is a representation of the good or the service that you are providing in the United States, then you can get a trademark. And then
Hmm.
copyright. If you have created something from a creative and artistic perspective that you want protection on, blogs, vlogs, how your website looks, all your marketing materials, audio visual works, sound recordings, newsletters, anything kind of related to like the marketing of your product or business can be protected by copyright also. So
Right.
having these protections means that they're yours. You get to control what happens to them, and you get to sell it to the investors as a way to get money from them because it's collateral for the loan that they're going to give you. At the end of the day, that's what it is. And
Wow.
so
It's
having
fascinating.
intellectual property is important.
I'm really interested. This is a little bit of a digression. How did you get into this? Were
Ah,
you? I don't think I ever asked you that.
I don't think you have. I was fortunate. I knew I always wanted to be a lawyer.
You did?
I loved LA Law. I don't know if you remember that
Oh
show.
my goodness, I loved it
It,
too.
it was like that very kind of sexy, cool kind of
Sexy,
like
cool, and a
law.
little law thrown in. No,
Yeah,
sounds dismissive.
exactly.
I don't mean it to be.
I just no, it was like ingrained in me when I was like a teenager. Like, wow, I think I want to get into. I want to wear a suit. I want to like help people. I want to like sit around a conference table and everybody report on their different areas of law and stuff like that. And so I knew I always want to be a lawyer. That's the earliest memory I have.
Wow.
And I was fortunate when I was 18 to join as a law clerk, a very I don't know about prestigious, but at the time, very popular kind of entertainment law firm. They represented rappers and artists and Broadway
What?
stars in the middle of Manhattan. And so, like,
Did
oh
you
yeah,
grow
here's
up
that.
in Manhattan? I
I
forget.
grew up in Brooklyn. Grew
Brooklyn.
up in Brooklyn, New
How
York, but all my jobs were in Manhattan as early as I was 18.
how
And
did you
so
get this incredible?
I just
Oh,
applied as a law clerk. I knew I wanted to get into a firm. I knew that I had to start somewhere. I knew that I was in college and I wasn't yet going to law school. And
wow.
so I just applied and I guess I charmed them into getting the job there. And I
My
was there for
gosh.
about 3 or 4 years. They actually wrote my recommendation letters for law school. And entertainment law is an offshoot of copyright and trademarks. It's all intellectual property at the end of the day.
Wow.
And so from there I just jumped from firm to firm to firm to firm and I never looked back. I went to law school, became a lawyer. I got my science degrees because you have to have science backgrounds in order to be a patent attorney. So I have
You
undergrad.
do.
I
You
do. I have a chemistry degree. I also have
wow.
degrees in computer science, and so I was going to make the best of this and do as much as I possibly can to be an IP attorney. There's not many of us actually. There's millions of lawyers, but
Right.
to date there are only about 60,000
Wow.
patent attorneys, and so.
Wow.
I knew that if I was going to do this, not only was I going to do it for the love of it, from a competitive perspective, I wanted to be that type of lawyer that not everyone was. That was
Right.
important to me also at some point.
How
And
fascinating.
yeah, that's how I did it. That's how I got
Wow.
into it.
That's how you did it. All right. So now let's go back to tell me. the typical client you have and the problems they come to you with. How about that?
Yeah,
That'd
that's a
be very
great
helpful.
question. That's a great question. It definitely ranges. We definitely have like the what we call the independent inventor. Just some random person who comes up with a great idea, flash of genius, falls in the shower, whatever the story is, and comes up with like a great product and doesn't know the first thing about not only protecting it but how to launch it, like, because
Yeah.
that's like how do you have to like market and prototype and manufacture and produce and distribute and all that stuff. And so that's a very typical type of client of ours. You can label that person as a startup as well, right? Because now all of a sudden they're like creating a company and they're starting up and trying to get things going. But those companies, most of them fail at the end of the day. The odds are against startups.
Can I ask you about this?
Of
So they're
course.
getting a patent. You know who comes to mind? Sarah Blakely, the
Yes,
founder of
of course.
Spanx. She
That's
has a
right. Of course.
she has
Spanx
a
is an excellent
fascinating
example.
fascinating story, and boy, did it go big
Totally.
for her. But she didn't know what she was doing in the beginning and got rejected 10 times. I don't know that,
100%.
but
Or like Joy, like the movie Joy, like the woman who came up with that mop that squeezes the water out. I
right.
mean, those are the popular cultural references that we have for patents, for sure. But yeah, most people don't know, and they know they know they created something amazing, but they don't know anything else. So they really
So,
come to
David,
us
can
so
excuse
early.
me, can they get a patent without knowing how they're going to manufacture it?
Yeah, of course. There's absolutely no requirement to build or make or sell the thing that you want to protect and patent. It's enough to just technically describe it through words, which is why you need a patent attorney who understands the mechanics and the electrics and the
Wow.
science behind it, and also have like pictures of it, like sketches or diagrams. You
Wow.
have to know somewhat how it's going to look, even though you can't manufacture it yet or 3D print it or whatever. You still have to kind of know how it's going to work. But the patent office doesn't say, "Oh, show it to me. Oh, is it on sale?" They don't care. At the end of the day, they
I
want to
see.
know that it's technically described in a way that they can allow it and examine it for you.
Wow. All right. So, first issue is the person has the idea, gets the patent, but doesn't know how to bring it forward. And that is work that you help them with. Do you
We
source
do.
manufacturing for them and all of
We
that?
do. I don't, I'll tell you that we don't charge for that type of thing at the firm. We're not like a typical law firm. We don't charge by the hour. Everything is fixed and flat, and we make it our business to know the business of innovation.
Wow.
That means knowing other people that can help my client market, prototype, manufacture. I need to have this done in China. Okay, we have somebody in China that can help you. I need to do this in
Wow.
Taiwan. I need to get on Amazon. So we have Amazon consultants. Anything you can possibly think of from the time the person conceptualizes the idea to
Wow.
the time that they exit out of the company. Not everybody has to exit, but from concept to exit, as we call it, everything in between,
Wow.
accountants, employment lawyers, immigration lawyers, because
Wow.
you have talent from around the world, whatever it is. We make it our business to help our clients and introduce them to people that are also startup and entrepreneurial friendly, because it's nasty out there. You can
I've
kiss a
been
lot of
on
frogs, right?
I've been on one of your podcasts, one of Gearhart's
That's right.
podcasts, and you create such a nice community where people share their real life stories
Yeah.
and really give support. When you say it's nasty out there, what are some of the things people need to be aware of?
Yeah. I mean, not knowing who you're working with,
Mm.
not not having been referred to someone, that's a
As a
dangerous
lawyer,
place.
you mean, as
Yeah,
an
like
investor?
somebody trusted should be, introducing you
Wow.
to other people that can help you on your journey. Because not all the time, like Googling and finding someone is gonna that could be amazing, but like sometimes that doesn't work.
Right.
And so having someone that could be like having a trusted advisor, if you
Right.
will,
Right.
call it your lawyer, your accountant, I don't care who it is, you, Kathy, right? Having someone to go to ask, like, I need help in this.
Yeah.
I need help with this stage. Who do you recommend? I'm a big believer of like, referring business, like all that kind of stuff, because everybody just want, especially to like-minded people that really just give a shit about the journey that someone's going on,
Right.
and they just want to help them. Yeah, they're gonna charge you whatever, but like they understand what you need. That's really good. I think that's a so I find like the biggest mistake people make is that they kiss a lot of frogs out there for the things that they need, and that could be very costly and painful and emotional, and it starts to chip away at like, oh my God, do I really want to do this? Like,
Right.
so having the right people on your team is really important.
It's so fascinating. Is there another problem? So, a lot of people listening on this show, they're coaches, they're creators of some sort, they have programs, they want to make a bigger impact. Maybe they have a clone, a digital clone like
Yep.
I do. Um, when you're talking about that arena, what are some of the other problems? We talked in the last show that you did with me. I talked about the story of Finding Brave that
Yep.
I had originally called it Brave Up.
Yep.
And I did not do a trademark search. I
Yep.
did just a Google search. And then someone said, you need to look in the trademark database. You might have been you. And
Yep.
there it was. And someone just 3 months before had submitted the trademark application. So, is another problem that you deal with a lot that people come to you, I can't believe it.
I
The
know,
the
totally.
name that I created, the title is taken or someone's trying to steal it. Is that a common problem you
That's a
hear?
huge problem, not just for small companies or, solo entrepreneurs or whoever, for even the largest of companies that we represent as well, because a lot of our companies grow and grow and grow, and we're still
Wow.
with them.
Wow.
And so they're always that is a big problem, not getting clearance, as we say. Like, I need to, like, I have a great idea for a name. Okay, let's get clearance on it. Let's make sure somebody else doesn't have it, because that's a more, and yes, it costs money to get clearance, but it costs more money not to get clearance and to proceed with the name and then potentially be sued for infringement or something like that.
So are
So
a lot of these companies, including even the bigger ones, marching ahead thinking it's okay to use the name, but they
a
didn't
lot of the
get,
times. A lot of the times, either they're, yes, 100%, because no matter how much education
wow,
I
okay.
can do as a lawyer. I'm a big believer in education empowerment. You said I'm a professor. I do that. I try to get there as early as I can, if you will, like get to the minds of an entrepreneur as early as I can. But even with the ones that have gone through processes with me, even my own clients, everybody thinks they can be their own lawyer too at the end of the day, and so
I'm
people
sure
make,
Chat GPT is
and then
come.
of course,
I've
right,
got
throw
a,
AI on it.
oh no, here's my contract. What do you think, David? Oh no.
We get a lot of that. We see a lot of that for sure. But yeah, I think if everybody could just take a breath and maybe just get some sort of clearance on the things that they want to do, it might cause maybe me to have less clients, because a lot of times they're coming to us with the problem already. Like, help us. We didn't know.
Right. We
Help
did.
us. Yeah, we just got a cease and desist letter. What do we do? Like we just someone is saying we took their images. What do we do? Like, someone took their name. What do we do? Well, didn't I tell you like a long time? Didn't
Oh,
I try to explain to you that before you do anything, you should get some sort of clearance on like using something?
oh
And
dear.
for all your listeners, it's kind like we all want to we everybody wants to believe that the things that they're creating are original,
Are unique to them.
are unique, and they are unique to them, but are they unique to the world? Was there somebody else that maybe beat you to it? Like, we just want to know. And it's not the end of the story. I always say that. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't the end of your story,
No.
right? Like you created Finding Brave after that.
Which I
And
actually far prefer, you know.
exactly.
It's
And so
really the right
it's the
energy.
beginning. Exactly. It's the beginning of the story. It's a slight pivot, which you're probably used to doing anyway. It's a
Right.
slight adjustment, if you will. But
Wow.
yeah, that's a big one.
That's a big one. What else do we
One.
need to what else do we need to be doing to make sure we're attracting investors that are going to be, productive to work with? It's going to work out. They're not going to try to take stuff from us. What else do we need to know?
I heard something amazing the other day. I work with a lot of investors. Like they are my clients. They're coming to us saying, here's a company, here's their intellectual property
Wow.
portfolio, here's their finances. Can you look at it and can you do due diligence for us and let us know if there's any holes or anything like that?
Wow.
And so I have a lot of have a lot of clients that are investors or in private equity or angels, whatever type of investor they are. We probably have them as a probably have one or a few of them as clients. But I recently heard from a friend who's also an investor just a few days ago on our entrepreneurial strategy series that you were on
Yeah.
that virtual presentation podcast. He said he was giving advice, the same question. He was asked the same question, but I kind of want to use his answer because
Yeah.
he is the investor.
Right.
He said, please do not send me anything that I am remotely not interested in. Right? He's like, I expect you to, speaking to the entrepreneurs in the audience and all the people that are looking for money and attracting money and want to attract and want. Like, he's like, as an example, I'm in food.
Yeah.
Please don't send me
Handbags.
like a handbag. Yeah, exactly. Like, please don't do that. Like, I'm that's not my thing. He's like, I'm not even gonna look at it. It's
Right.
like almost like I'm looking for a lawyer, at the firm, and the market is so bad that I have bankers contacting me. Like, oh, but the ad said I'm looking for a lawyer. Like,
Wow.
what are you trying to get a job through us? So like it's that same concept, right? Like, like you should be researching the investors that you want their attention
What a
and
great
then
idea.
cold call them. Call it
Right.
for sure. Send them, blow them up, send them on LinkedIn. He welcomes that if it's the right match. He's like, I'm expecting you to understand who I am
Right.
so that I can understand who you are. Don't just throw shit at the wall and see if it sticks. Don't do that. He's like, don't send out like 1,000, pitch decks to 1,000 investors when all of us know that there's probably few of us who can help you, and so you're not going to get a response. I thought that was brilliant. I don't think a lot of companies know that. I don't think they do enough of their own due diligence before they're expected to have due diligence done on them.
I agree
That's a
with you.
big
Woo.
one, you know?
Wow. There's a corollary to that that I want to share, David. Um, when you're in the media, so I'm a Forbes contributor. You can't believe what you get in terms of pitches that are this exact same thing. You don't have to spend an hour to find out what Kathy writes about. It's at the
Right.
top of,
Right.
my bio on LinkedIn. It's career and leadership, and people are sending me their new products
Yeah.
and whatever.
Right.
And it's not only a waste of your time, it's a waste of the person's time. Another way this shows up is, I've written 2 books and I have an amazing literary agent, and the way they're solicited is unbelievable.
I know. I
That
can imagine.
no one is really vetting, what is this person even fiction or nonfiction.
Right.
So, being on the receiving end of those kinds of pitches, I really implore you all, do that work. I mean, if you're not ready to do that work, I'm not sure you're ready to move forward, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never,
Okay, great.
I also want to say that everybody, I would say even my largest of clients, I say this facetiously, sarcastically, realistically, and figuratively, nobody has money, right? At the end of the day, spending spending money to attract money has to be a calculated business decision 100%. Right? Am I hiring this lawyer? Do I need this accountant? Do I need this? Do I need that? I have nothing. I have pennies in my pocket. What do I do? Like, how do I do this? There's no right or wrong answer, but
Mm,
what my point is, whatever money you do spend has to have some justification or ROI, in the same way that you are going to ask an investor to
right.
invest in you and they want their ROI. Yes, I put my sweat and I put the last pennies I have on an accountant to get my financial books in order. And now I'm asking for, $5,000 to do something. Whatever the story is, doesn't matter. I can interchange all of that. But my point is, you have to, the money you have spent,
Hmm.
your own money or investors' money for more investor money, has to be like, accounted for and justified, and has to give you a return on investment so that you can get your next investment,
Wow. And the biggest mistake people make on that front is what they're spending a lot and it wasn't going to drive more interest from investors. What
I
is the
think
mis-?
so. I think people spend maybe a lot on R&D without understanding the patent landscape.
Oh,
I
wow.
think people spend a lot on marketing without having their trademark protected.
I see.
I think people spend a lot on hiring influencers and stuff like that when they're not protecting the stuff that they're not protecting the creative content that they're using.
Wow.
I think people hire consultants and freelancers and not realize that the things that those people are doing for you are not are not
Mm,
are not papered in a way that benefits you as the company, meaning whatever the consultant created for you, you don't really own, or whatever you think you got
wow.
from the freelancer is not really yours. All of those types of situations, we've seen
Wow.
them all, unfortunately, is stuff that possibly could have been avoided if they maybe spent a little bit, not even more, a little upfront, with kind of doing that stuff right,
Wow. While you're talking, I am going to do a blatant plug for
Please.
Gearhart, and
Thank you.
because you do regular webinars on all of this, all of these aspects, where you're really just being of service, teaching and training. And
Yeah,
as everyone can hear, it's complicated. And if you don't have any training in this, you might have training in your swim lane. Like for me, I have a blog or a digital clone, but most of us don't have what you have, a full understanding of how to protect the hard work we've done that's
that's right.
created. And are you seeing anything else in terms of um, what we need to be planning for if the end game is selling our work? Anything else that we're
That's
not
a
doing?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I often give an example. I had a client that the logo that they nothing patentable. Forget patents. Let's take science out of it. They had a lifestyle brand, and the logo that represented their lifestyle brand and what was not actually owned by the company. It's actually done by a friend.
Oh,
A friend did it for them. And when
without a
this
contract
Without a
saying,
contract,
oh
correct,
no,
of course, right?
okay.
At the end of the day, which
Mm,
happens a lot, right? Oh, my friend did it. I have a great graphic designer. I know this person. Everybody knows great people. Awesome. But they created this logo that is now the main, this is the lifestyle brand. They're living and dying by their brands, and this was the logo that they were living and dying by. And when the investor asked them, who was going to give them millions of dollars, said, "Who owns this logo?
mm,
Where's the proof that, right? Where's the proof? Where's the trademark? Where's the copyright? Where's the proof? Where's the agreement? Forget the trademark and copyright.
mm,
Where's
wow.
the agreement that says that you own it?" She had to say, "Well, it was actually my best friend's father's sister, some sort of complicated, or maybe at first wasn't a complicated relationship that she had with the person that created it." And then he said, well, you need to secure this, or this is like your major asset of your company.
Wow.
So I need you to go back to that person and get them to sign an agreement that says that you own this logo.
So how'd that go?
Oh, hell no. That was terrible. Apparently the person, it was actually an in-law, but now divorced. So now she
Okay.
had to go back to like her brother's wife or her sister's husband or some one of those things and say, "Hey, I need can you now sign this work made for hire? Why? Well, I'm,
That's a horrible
faced with
story.
getting like a $5 million investment in the company. I need it. Like, what do you think that divorced from the family person is gonna say to that one? Oh, yeah, sure. It would have been so much easier. She had to
Wow.
pay that person off in order to get it, just FYI. But it would have been so much easier if at the time, when she got her to do that altruistic favor for her, that she just got her to sign a simple agreement that says that this thing that you're creating for me, I own. As simple as that. So sometimes you know, not spending money means you're going to spend triple later. That's what we're always trying to avoid.
A story comes up for me that a person I was on his podcast, and there was an agreement, and I read it and I signed it. What I didn't quite understand some of the language, I find out later when some of my own content from that was made into a course
Mm.
that sold
Oh my
well.
God, that's so popular in the that happens so much in the coaching,
I wanted to
personal coaching industry for sure.
And what I wanted to say about that is number one, from my perspective, be very careful what you are signing. And if you don't understand the implication,
Yeah.
it may sound like, okay, they'll be using it in their own. Like on my podcast now, I have people sign this form that I have the rights to
To do what
disseminate
you want, of course.
this in the way that
Yes.
I see fit. But if you, number one, if you're signing that and you don't understand, what are they thinking? What might be some of these ways you're using it, like a huge course on a huge platform? But I will say this, maybe this is just me. I'm interested in your thoughts, David. If you're on my show and I would like to use some of your content in teaching, and it's not a bailiwick that I know, it's right. Even if you've signed a form, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to be
Yeah.
using this.
Yeah. There's
You're not going
ethical,
to see it in a Google alert
right,
that
right.
David is appearing in blah, 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 Kathy's course. What do
Yeah,
you see this a lot? Are
I
people
do.
actually, why do they do stuff like that? Is it that really they don't have a moral compass or,
I actually think I think they probably don't realize that what they're doing might actually be not just, illegal, well, because there might be a contract, but possibly unethical, right?
yeah,
Everybody's, spectrum of
okay,
morality and ethics is all over the place.
that's
And
right.
so I, for one, like go for it, take it, do it, disseminate, it's going to help me, it's going to help you, great. But
But I'm
I
sure
represent,
knowing our relationship, if you saw it, there it was, and I published it and I hadn't even told you, how would you feel?
yeah, I mean, I probably maybe just would want to like a quick text about it. Just so it would have been a nice to know type of thing.
Well, you're being very generous.
But
Yeah. Wow.
yeah, but
I
at
mean,
the
I
end,
wanted to know a little more than, it's done and it's up.
yeah, yeah, of course you do. And you know, I think that directly relates to the question, to the issue question of like, how do we value the things that we bring to the table?
Right.
There's no shame, like in
That's a
in
really good,
charging for a service, or thinking my value is worth something. We want to teach our kids that from when they were young. What's the difference? It's the same concept,
you're
self-worth,
right.
self-value. It's the same thing. So don't come down on me for charging a fee, type of thing,
Right.
right? If so, I think for, from that perspective, I do think that people lack sometimes the ethical and moral, um, what's the word? Like the ethical and moral compass, will say, as it relates to how other people perceive their value to be,
Ooh, say that again.
Yeah.
Uh,
That I think people sometimes lack the ethical and moral compass as to how they think other people perceive their own value.
So do you mean they're stealing things because they actually don't think they have it inherently to create themselves?
There could be an element of that for sure. Yes.
But I don't think that's what you meant.
No,
Tell,
I think it could mean that. What I mean is, like, I'm not gonna tell David that I'm using his information or even let him know, because he probably, it, he doesn't value it anyway, or something like,
yes,
or some sort of judgment on whether I should be told, or whether I should value the thing that you're going to be using or not,
I
or whether
see.
I do or don't value the thing that you're going to be using or not. I think people don't think those steps ahead a little bit, you
I
know?
get it. I
Yeah.
have one corollary, and then I want to ask one final question of you.
Sure.
When I was, had just burst on the scene on LinkedIn, where they had very few people writing on their new platform. Now it's, I think 10 years old. Something of mine went very viral. And I saw one guy actually verbatim publish it under his name.
Yikes.
Um, I,
So that's on the low totem pole, the
That's
ethical
that
moral.
is so
What is that?
crazy. So anyone, listen, I love my Finding Brave community. I'm really sure that none of you who are in this community are doing that, but maybe you know someone who is. That is just so wrong and bad vibes and on every possible level.
Agreed.
To think you could pick up something verbatim and put your name on it. So, I did tell him cease and desist and he took it down. But
Nice.
I don't think I have to remind anybody here of that. But sometimes I think one thing happened that I just want to share. Someone who had been following my work a long time ago, um, and I had sent out a newsletter, wrote a post that had the same wording, but not verbatim. And I said, wow, this is awkward, but I think, this is really close. Look. And in this case, I don't think she was actually that aware that that happened.
Probably
So
not. Right.
sometimes we internalize content and it becomes our own and we
Yeah.
love the message and not everyone is really trying to steal. But
Yeah.
either way, if this happens to you, people don't shy away from reaching out, and
Yeah. Agreed.
maybe give the benefit of the doubt, but say, I would ask you to take that down.
That's good advice.
Thank you for
Like
bringing
that.
that up.
Yep.
Any other big things that those of us not in the legal profession wouldn't know in terms of trying to get great investors? Anything?
I think, what else can I say about investors?
How about a state of readiness in your
Yeah.
business?
I,
Is
I
that
think,
is
yeah,
that something you
yeah,
speak to a lot of
yeah.
people who
I
come to
was going
you?
to say that, you often hear and I often see investors want to invest in people, right? At the end of the day, like, first people, then the idea,
Yeah,
then first people, then the patent or trademark.
really.
But they also want to see that you can't do it all, right? You
You
cannot
can,
be the
yeah.
CMO, and you can't be the CEO, and you can't be the CTO, and you can't do it all. You can. And we get it. We get that you can,
And then you
but
probably have been, but that's not why we're buying or investing in
correct.
you.
But there are probably other people that could do it a little bit better for you and make you look even better, that type of thing. And that's good. That's why teams are important, right? And
Oh,
so, and by the way, for your viewers and for your listeners, yes, I get like you're like an individual brand. I get it. But at the end of the day, you have probably people surrounding you, right? You have
Right,
like your literary agent. You
right,
have like, you're not shopping books on your own, that type of
right.
thing, because people do that, right? You have maybe someone helping you with marketing. Can't be doing TikTok videos all day, stuff like that. And so like all so it can mean the team can mean a lot of people. It doesn't have to be a C-suite of people, right? It just
Right.
means people that are supporting you and making you look good. That's very attractive to investors, knowing that you like, don't have this ego where you like, have to do everything yourself,
Right.
like I'm giving up a little bit so that I can get something in back, that's great.
Love that. Love it. Oh, where do we soak up everything that you have to offer and be a part of your community and the webinars and the trainings? They're so great. Where do we go, David?
So we have the Entrepreneurial Strategy Series is the last Thursday of every month at 12 p.m. Eastern.
Wow.
And we advertise on Eventbrite, but on our website, if you go to gearhartlaw.com, you click on events, you can see all the past ones. You can see all the future ones. They're planned until next year.
Wow.
And we have a YouTube site where and you can download it. It's a podcast. So just do all of that. We're pretty public and out there. I think if you really want to join a community of other innovators, inventors, creators, come to that. We have a networking session in the first half hour. I think you'll get a lot out of it. I think
Oh,
it'll be, and it's
wonderful.
super fun. Super
Oh,
fun.
fantastic. Thank you for all this advice.
Thank
For a
you.
lot of people, they're thinking, why didn't I hear this 2 years ago when
Never too late. I know.
never too late. I can attest. And sometimes the things we miss, they're meant to be missed, and that their breakdown leads to breakthrough. So thank you,
Right
David.
there.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
You're
Come
welcome,
back
Catherine.
again
Thank you so much.
soon.
Definitely. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for the time.
So great. All right, everyone. I'm sure you have questions. I say this every time. Wherever you see this posted, just, make a comment. We'll do our best to point you in the right direction. And I hope this inspires you and protects you a little bit, that what you have to offer is very valuable. Don't forget it. But sometimes it takes a little extra effort and a little extra investment to protect it the way we need to. I hope it was helpful. And have a wonderful two Finding Brave weeks, my friends. See you next time. Bye.
Thanks so much for joining us today. And please don't forget to check out findingbrave.org for more programs, resources, and tips. And tune in next time for your weekly dose of Finding Brave.